Jayanandalala, everybody. So today's beautiful topic, Swamimalai. We're going to go to Swamimalai and understand why it's called Swamimalai and and what did Murugan, Lord Murugan, do here that it is called Swamimalai. And he is called Swaminatha, Swaminatha Swamy. So let's see why. This temple goes back a long way. It's the temple was built in the 2nd century by a Chora king, Paranthaka Chola I, and he built this temple. And of course, there was a lot of invasions and that happened during the 13th to 15th century. The French and of course the Mughals. So many destructions happened in this temple. So many things were destroyed. But then, of course, it came back again. All these kings and great dynasties, they've given us a lot. So it was built back and in a big, grand way. If you've seen Swamimalai Temple, it's very grand and it's above the hill again. Makes us wonder again, like every other temple, makes us wonder how did they build this huge thing without much of the modern uh, those techniques and those the bulldozers that we have nowadays, the equipments. None of that were there those days, and they did it. Now, this is the 4th Padai Veedu of Lord Murugan, Swamimalai, and this is where the Pranava Mantra OM was given to Lord Shiva, or taught to Lord Shiva, as in they put it that way. Let's see how that unfolds. Now you must be thinking, Lord Shiva taught to Lord Shiva? Lord Murugan taught Pranava Mantra Om to Lord Shiva? Is that even possible? Now let's break it down and see how this incident unfolds, because a lot of people just come to various their own version of their story, right? But let's get to the roots. Now, what happened is in Kailasham, the Lord Murugan is playing around. He's a small boy, and Lord Brahma walks in. Brahma walks in, and he just sees Lord Murugan, and he doesn't pay much attention because he's a kid. He's like walks with the pride, unknowing pride that happens sometimes, right? With us. We all go through this. We have this unknowing pride. We may be good at something, and it's shown on her face. I'm good at this. So he walks in. He's like sitting and waiting for Lord Shiva. And Lord Murugan comes in, wants to have a little conversation. He comes and asks him. Usually kids ask so many questions, right? Lord Muruga's question was, so, can you introduce yourself? And Lord Brahma says, I'm Lord Brahma. I'm the creator. So Lord Muruga says, okay. So do you know what the Pranava Mantra is? Yeah. What does it mean? Do you know what it means? He asks him. Of course, it's me. Pranava Mantra is me, he says. Even if he had said, I don't know, maybe Lord Muruga would have accepted it. But instead of giving him the meaning, he said the Pranava Mantra is him. I'm the Pranava Mantra. I'm the creator, so I am the Pranava Mantra, he says. Lord Muruga says, no. Either you should give me the meaning or you should say, I don't know. So Lord Brahma was like caught in the middle. He says, well, you clearly don't know the meaning. So you're not supposed to be creating anything. You're not fit to be creator, he says. And then he takes him and he takes him to Skandagiri and he locks him up there in the, he imprisons him. He's behind bars. Lord Brahma is behind bars because obviously he didn't know the meaning of Pranava Mantra OM and he didn't know how to explain it to the kid. He just didn't know. Obviously, if the creator is in behind bars, what will happen to creation? It stops. The standstill. Creation was put to a standstill, and Lord Muruga is like, creation should not stop, so let me do it. So he became the creator. It's Skandapuranam. It clearly says that Lord Muruga took over the role of Lord Brahma and became the creator while Brahma was behind bars. So just it gives you a picture of how powerful Lord Muruga is. I mean, everything put aside, just think of that little kid. How powerful he is. He took up the role of Lord Brahma and started creating. He's like, let's not stop creation. It should not stop. I'll do it. Obviously, all the devas and everybody went running to Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is the father, right? He's the one who brought him out from his third eye. Only he can control him. So they all ran and fell at his feet and they all pleaded with him. This is what happened. He has imprisoned Lord Brahma in Skandagiri. Please help us. What do we do? Now, Lord Shiva is shocked. He says, let's go. Come, I'll do something. And he walks there to Skandagiri and he sees Lord Muruga is like enjoying himself, sitting there, doing his stuff. And Lord Shiva goes and asks, Enapa, what happened? What happened here? Why have you imprisoned Lord Brahma? What is the reason? And then Lord Muruga is like, well, he claimed he is the creator. Well, a creator should know the basic Pranava Mantra OM. Now, if you've appointed someone for a job, they should know everything. They should know the fundamentals of it. Otherwise, now they're not fit to be in that job. Basic, right? Correct. Lord Shiva says, correct. He knows it, he says. Then why didn't he tell me? Murugan says. I asked him. He said he doesn't know. He didn't know to explain it to me. So Lord Shiva says, oh, okay. But see, the creation has stopped, he says. You should not be putting that person who's in charge of creation. And Murugan says, no, the creation never stopped. I'm doing everything now. I took care of it. Everything is fine. Appa, don't worry, he says. So Lord Shiva smiles and he says, my son, see, everyone is in charge of certain things. I've appointed them for that certain job. And you can't just step in and start doing somebody else's job. Doesn't work like that. Just doesn't work. So let's give the job back to him because you have come for something else here, not to create. Lord Muruga says, okay, it makes sense. If you insist, I will release him apart, he says. So then Lord Brahma is, of course, released. And Lord Shiva is very curious. He asks him, my son, you asked him what Pranava Mantra OM is. Do you know the meaning? Do you know? He asks. Lord Muruga says, of course I know. I know. Would you mind telling me? He says. Lord Shiva asks Lord Murugan is like, When you taught my mother, the universal mother, the mother who's the source of all energy, all life, when you taught her, you took her to a place where there was nobody, just both of you, and you whispered in her ear the Pranava Mantra. And now you're asking me this in front of 33 crores of devas who are watching the scene. Hmm? And you want me to tell you the meaning? Lord Muruga asks him. So it's basic things, right? It's like this. You are in a flight and you're intrigued by the what the pilot is doing. Because when you're walking out of the flight, and sometimes, we're so intrigued, we look inside the cockpit, right? Like see all those buttons and all those things. And then what if we go and ask the pilot, Captain, can you teach me how to write this thing? Just teach me whatever this is, the controls. And then this bunch of people watching, right? Everybody's like intrigued, the same question, anxious to hear what the captain is saying. What will he say? He'll say, I can't teach this right now. It's not that simple. You have to go to a school and learn this. It's not something I can say, okay, let's go for a stroll in the beach and I'll teach you how to ride the plane. Anything for that matter. And what is this? This is the Pranava Mantra OM. There is nothing close to it. That is why Lord Shiva taught Parvati in a place where they are alone. And even he whispered in her ears. So that's what Murugan is saying. So by that already we know that Lord Shiva already knows the mantra. Correct? See, Skandapuranam is very clear that Lord Shiva already knows the mantra. So first and foremost, the version that Lord Shiva learned it from Lord Murugan, let's erase that. So in Skanda Puranam, it always already says, Murugan tells Lord Shiva that when you taught Mother Parvati, my mother, who's the source of every energy and life, you whispered in her ears and you both were alone at that time. And now you're asking me this in front of all these 33 devas that are watching, because all of them have come, right? Because Lord Brahma is in prison. They all want to see what's going on. It's like everybody's anxious. Now Lord Brahma is released. They're still sitting there and watching this conversation, interesting conversation between the father and son. And so Lord Muruga says, I can't tell you in front of all these 33 devas 33 crores of devas that are watching me and you. I can't. So then Lord Shiva says, okay then, I will come closer. And there is a method, right? Whenever you learn something, the Guru Sthanam and the Shishya Sthanam, right? You want to get some information, you have to take it with humility. That is, you have to know that you're getting to know something. So that's where the Shishya Sthanam is. That is this place. Like I said, when you go to school and you learn, there is a separate place where all the students are sitting, and then the professor has the spot in the middle where he can face everyone and give that education, give that knowledge. So there is a sthanam, there is a place. So Lord Shiva comes down to Muruga's level, bends down because he's a child, and he kneels down with one foot up where Lord Muruga sits down on his foot, and he puts his hand in his mouth like us, with humility, puts his hand in his mouth like that, and he bends down and shows his ears. Now here, what we learn from this gesture is, who's Lord Shiva after all? Adi Guru, Dakshinamurti. He's the, is there anything, the Guru itself starts from Dakshinamurti. Adi Guru, first Guru. So, Adi Guru, Adi Yogi is coming down, bending his head, doing this, like having his hand in his mouth. Is like, all yours. I have nothing to say. You tell me, I listen. That humility the Lord is showing, who knows everything, who has no beginning, no end, all knowledgeable, is coming to that level. What is he teaching us? Humility. Even if you know everything, there is no harm in learning more. There's no harm in having the humility in us. So the best teacher can be the best disciple, is what is shown here. The best teacher can be the best disciple. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? So the best teacher can be the best disciple, is what we learn from this beautiful incident that Lord Shiva, you know, gave the whole of the 33 crores of devas and us this lesson, to be humble. A small child, he bent down, came to his level, and he heard the mantra in his ears. That is where this whole thing came up, that Lord Murugan became the Guru and the Lord became his Shishya. That's in our Puranas, we have seen that everywhere. There are so many examples in our Puranas which give us that these great souls who came down to earth, avatarams who came down to earth, have been the best disciple. One such thing that comes to my mind is Lord Hanuman, Adi Shankara, all of them. Just go and we have Adi Shankara sessions on YouTube, Nandalala YouTube, 3 parts, where he has had so many gurus and he has taken so much knowledge from them with so much humility. And never has he shown in any phase of his life that he is above anybody. Even when he debated with a woman, he gave all respect to that lady. This is the beauty of avatarams that show us how to lead our lives. We know very few things, but we have so much ego about that. Somehow, pride. We develop a pride. We may be a good musician, or we may be a good at technical things, or we may be good at so many things, but we think we know too much. And somehow we develop that pride. Now look at this. This incident every time should be embedded in our minds. Because when the Lord himself kneels down to a small child and shows so much humility by bending his head, Lord Shiva bending his head, that actually is something, right? Now this temple is located in Kumbakonam, the banks of the river Kaveri, Swamimalai. And the main shrine in the temple complex in Swamimalai depicts that the Lord Shiva is, the disciple, and Lord Murugan is the teacher. Now, there are 60 steps leading to the temple, representing 60 years in the Tamil calendar. So each year has a step. And the New Year's, Tamil New Year or English New Year, they actually do puja to all these steps, Padi puja, they say. Now, the shrine of Lord Swaminatha Swamy is on top of the hillock, while Lord Shiva's shrine is on the bottom basement, again depicting that the Lord is the Shishya, Lord Shiva is the Shishya, and the Lord Murugan is the Guru. That is the sthanam, right? The position here. They both have a position here. Position is, one is Guru, one is Shishya. It's very well depicted in this temple. Lots of hymns were sung by great saints here in this temple. Nakkeeran has mentioned this temple and this incident in his Tirumuruga Aarupadai, and of course Saint Arunagirinathar also in his Tirupugar. Now, Lord Swaminatha Swamy stands on a peetham which looks like a Shivalingam, Avadayar. So he stands on this peetham that looks like the Avadayar, and the Lord himself looks like the Shivalingam. Magnificent, isn't it? Now, this explains the whole concept that Lord Shiva and Lord Muruga are one and not any different. Now, in the place of the peacock, there is an elephant here. You may wonder, what is that elephant? Who is that elephant? Yes, the elephant is Airavat. Now, Lord Indra was being harassed by one of the asuras named Harikesha. Lord Muruga helped defeat Harikesha, for which Lord Indra was very happy and gifted Lord Murugan Airavat. So that is why you see Airavata in this temple instead of peacock. So they say, Murugan has 3 vahanams. One is the ever common one that we all know is the peacock. The other one is the elephant, because he accepted that gift and he took it and he rode the elephant. The third one, you may ask, what is the third vahana? Not many know. It's the goat. I know most of you all don't know why goat, right? You must be wondering, goat? Why goat? So there is a story behind it. I like to share that. Now, when Lord Muruga was a child growing up, Lord Shiva said that he will stay in Saravana Poigai, along with the Kritikas, the 6 mothers, right? The 6 ladies. And he will grow with them, right? But unless when he's ready for the war. So he's going to be staying there and growing with them. They are going to bring him up. So while he was there, the devas are all already, they're in distress. They're being harassed by Surapadman and his brothers. That continued outside, but the devas are very restless. They were restless since before even Lord Murugan appeared from the third eye. They were restless. Now they have to wait till Lord Muruga attains a certain age, after which he can come to war and destroy or put an end to that misery. They have to wait, right? That is getting very restless. Everybody is like, they want it done there. So that's when, I realized everything has a point, has a stage, and the good has to wait to happen. So the period of evil has been already determined, cannot be changed, cannot be changed, because the varam, the karma, whatever you want to call it. Surapadman had a varam. He was given a boon, right? The boon said, for this many years, you will be ruling, right? They asked so many years. So that many years they got. Now, even if the atrocities are beyond any level, they must have crossed every path, whatever, the line, crossed the line. The gods cannot do anything because the boon has been given. And why is that? There is a little story about this. Because when Ravana was, small story, because I'm going to go back to tell you why this happened. When Ravana was creating all the havoc and everything, the devas were harassed. All the Devargal came and asked Lord Vishnu, we heard you're going to take an avataram. When are you going to take an avataram? Please tell us. Please tell us. Restless, right? Immediately, Lord Vishnu looks at Lord Brahma and he asks him, um, until when does Ravana have this period? Like he doesn't know. But why did he ask Lord Brahma and not anybody else? Because Brahma is the one who gave him the boon. Brahma is the one who gave Ravana that boon. Now, if he went before that time period and he started that job, disrespecting Brahma, and Brahma's boons are never going to be taken seriously, it's, you see how many things the Lord has to think. A boon is so, it's given because that person deserved it. That person earned it through his penance. So when that person is given the boon, it has to be fulfilled. But anything wrong that happens will not go unnoticed or will go unpunished. Nor will it go unpunished. Everything it will be taken into record and there will be consequences. Nobody goes scot-free. Nobody goes scot-free. So Lord Vishnu asks Lord Brahma, until when is this period? So just the last stage is when he will take birth as Lord Rama. So this shows same thing, right? With this also, Sura Padman. They have to wait till that period. So they're all restless. At that time, they see this little kid playing and doing all this, They're very restless, like, oh, he's a small kid, okay, he's not yet ready, that kind of thing. They just don't understand who this kid is. Even though he's a small kid, they've mentioned in the Skandapuranam so beautifully that he used to play with mountains and hills. He would throw mountains from here and there. He would shift the lakes from here and there. He would shift the sea from there. And he used to do, this was his toy. The nature was his toy. Think about it. Not able to understand it. It's beyond our comprehension. This child is not an ordinary one. And the Devas didn't understand it because they were restless, because their mind was clouded by the fact that they just wanted to put an end to Surapadman. That was the only thing in their mind. They just lost to enjoy the Leelas of the Lord growing up there. These are all the beautiful Leelas, right? It's like Krishna Leela. This is Muruga Leela. So at that time, Narada he organized a homa, a yagna. And this was during that period, when Lord Muruga is a small child. Now, every deva was restless and they were not too keen. And of course, Narada was aware of this, and Narada was very aware of the fact that Lord Muruga is very powerful and that the devas are not really understanding and comprehending that. So while he was offering to the fire god, to the fire pit, his offering, he was thinking in a very arrogant way. Sometimes, our arrogance comes out without our knowledge. The arrogance that only I know the Lord Muruga, who he is, his powers, and all these devas are ignorant. That kind of a feeling came into him when he was offering to the Agni. In a lot of these Puranas, right, they say that they refer that sacrifice was, the goat was given as sacrifice. The goat was not given as sacrifice. When the sacrifice was done, the mind was this analogy of the mind. They they say that it's like a goat. That is what, it's very similar. Mind is like a goat. Have you ever noticed a goat? If you've seen a herd of goats, they'll be walking, like, if you've seen, and randomly the goat in front will jump over a stone, or let's say something. Maybe there was no stone at all. Let's say there was no stone at all. It'll just hop. There'll be 10 other goats which do the same thing like the first one at the same spot. That is what a goat is. A goat has no sense of its own. It just follows whatever it sees. That's how a goat's mind is. Not that is our mind is like that. No, don't think we're great. The goat mind, because sometimes we just follow mindlessly sometimes. If there's a protest, we'll just go stand there and, oh, we have nothing else to do, let's do it. There are a lot of people who do that. My friend is going, let's go. So that kind of a mind is what is called a goat's mind. That is what they say Narada had at that point. And when he offered that thing to the yagna, that mind, because of that mind, from the fire emerged a ferocious goat, a ram kind of thing, those ones with the huge horns. It was like it came as if it's going to charge at all the devas. Everyone ran from there. The nearest point was Kandagiri, where Lord Muruga is playing child. They ran there. And Lord Muruga stood there facing the goat who was charging. And the goat calmed down, sat there, and Lord Muruga, as usual, like a style, the stylish god that I always say. Imagine that style. He just gets on top of the goat and he sits there as if it's his vahana. He owns it, totally owns it. So that is why the goat is also his vahanam now. The goat is his vahanam. Think about it. The goat is our mind. How he controls the goat. He controlled it, right? We saw this similarity. We saw this. It's very similar to how the goddess Akhilandeshwari controls the crocodile, how Lord Shiva controls the snake around his neck, and how Lord Murugan controls the goat. The goat is the mind. All of them. Hmm? It's just a matter of time when we surrender our minds to that Lord, and we will be fine. So this is how the goat also became his Vahanam. Now, the Lord here in this temple is 6 feet tall, and he has the sacred thread on his chest, and he has the staff in his hand and in his right hand, and the left hand is on his left thigh, on his left leg. Now, here with his veil, he has created a tirtham, which is the netra tirtham, they say, and he graces in a meditation state like a guru. Now, here, I believe Mother Earth, she was cursed by Parvati, and she came here to get her relief from her curse. And even after she was relieved from her curse, she told Lord Muruga that she will be here in the form of a gooseberry tree, Nalli tree. So she's here. The Bhuma Devi is here. Now, this is where Lord Brahma, we know why Lord Brahma came here to do prayashchitam for what happened with the Om Pranava Mantra OM. He came here and he prayed to Lord Muruga here. Bhuma Devi came here and Lord Indra came here. We also know why Lord Indra came here, because he was being harassed by the Asura, and he came here and he did his prayers. He offered his prayers. So this place, all these great deities have come and prayed to Lord Muruga here. Now the temple has 3 gopurams with 3 praharams. The gopuram on the south side is decorated with a lot of statues, colorful, and contains 5 stories, while the other 2 have no towers above them. Now, the first level, I told you, right? The first level, that is the ground level, has the temple of Lord Sundareshwarar and Meenakshi. This is downhill. Along with Dakshinamurti, Durgai, Chandikeshwarar, and Navagrahas are all here in the downhill first level side. Now, the second level is the largest level. It has the marriage hall, and all the chariots of the temple are kept here. The first precinct is called the Kira Kovil. Okay. And the main temple on the top of the hill is called the Male Kovil. Now, when we cross the second Prakharam, there is a temple of netravinayagar. Netravinayagar. It is believed that here a lot of people come and pray for their eyes, because he is very powerful, and those who have problems with their eyes come and pray to this Vinayagar. There are a lot of stories that he has cured a lot of problems, ailments with the eyes, you know. Now, there are 5 tirthams here: Vajra Tirtham, Sharavana Tirtham, Netra Pushkarani, and Kumaraturai. These are the tirthams here. And here also kavadi is practiced. Any Murugan temple kavadi is practiced. We spoke about kavadi in detail while we did the Parani session. And Vibhuti Abhishekam is performed to the Lord here, along with panchamrutham, sandalwood, and milk. Now, the deity is adorned with a diamond veil every Thursday. Wow. Now, 10-day Tirukartigai festival that comes around November, December time is very important, and 1 lakh devotees, 1 lakh devotees visit the temple during this time. It's very auspicious. Now, Arunagirinathar, I wanted to speak about Arunagirinathar because this devotee in particular is so mesmerizing. It's like, it's a true story. This happened during the 15th century. Arunagirinathar is from Tiruvannamalai, and we know Tiruvannamalai is one of the Panchabhuta Sthalams of Lord Shiva. It's the Agni Sthalam, Agni Kshetram, where the Lord is in the form of a Jyoti. And here, this Arunagirinathar was born here and raised here. And when he was 16, he went into all the bad habits and yeah, all the wrong choices. And because of all that, he got a lot of diseases. He had a lot of skin disease, like leprosy and all that. Lot of, name it, he had it. Inside, outside, everything. Now, because of that, his family said, you need to leave. We'd have nothing to do with you. Everybody in the village, everyone said, go away. And he felt very alone and he felt miserable also. One day the realization happens when he understood that he's done everything wrong. All his decisions were wrong. All his choices were wrong. To realize that also you need his blessings, that, yeah, I am wrong. I did wrong. For that you need his blessings. Not many think like that. Everyone think, how can I blame another person? They'll sit and wonder, where is the loophole where I can just sneak in and put it on someone else. Yeah, that is Kali Yuga. But yeah, he came to realize that he's done so much wrong. That day, he wanted to give up his life. He ran to the Tiruvannamalai Kovil. On the way, he was just screaming out, Muruga, Muruga, Muruga. He couldn't take it. When that realization happens, it hurts. Especially when we are in the wrong, it hurts even more. The guilt is so strong, because he had done a lot of wrong. The guilt was really high. So he ran, Muruga, Muruga. He screams and he ran. He wanted to give up his life. He wanted to go up the tower, the Gopuram tower, and fall. So he was screaming Lord Muruga's name and climbing up, and he fell. What happens when he falls? He leaped into the air, down. Muruga, he said, and suddenly someone is holding him. Two arms spread out, holding him, held him, embraced him, embraced him. This is not a made up story. This has happened. Embraced him. He couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't believe it. Who stood there? He saw the Lord, the beautiful Lord Murugan, standing there with his veil, with his peacock. Everything that explained him. We all know through books and everything. He has heard about him. And here he sees this beautiful Lord Murugan standing in front of him, smiling. He says, my dear Arunagiri, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Your time has not come yet. You have to do so much. You have to write. You have to sing. You have to sing many songs in praise of me. Where are you going? He says. Arunagiri is standing like this. Swami, I don't know how to write. I don't know anything. I'm not educated, he said. And then Lord Murugan smiles and he goes next to him and he whispers in his ears. He says, Pesama iru. Be quiet. Pesama iru means not stop talking. Stop talking is like a temporary thing. When will we stop talking? when we don't have a friend around, when we are alone. Some of us hate to stop talking because we are so used to always talking. We cannot even imagine not talking. So stop talking is very difficult for most of us, right? How easily Lord Murugan said, stop talking, keep quiet. The more deeper meaning to pesama iru is quite in the mind. When your mind is quiet, right? It's like those still waters. Have you ever been to those lakes where the water is like still? There's nothing on it. You can see the reflection of that beautiful on the other banks, the trees, the sky, the bushes, and even the flowers on the other side. You can see that lake. That is how our mind should be. The same if it is not quiet. Let's say the lake is not quiet. Can you see that reflection? Can you see the reflection of the tree or the branch, even the bird that flies in the sky? You'll see everything in the still water, but when the other side, if the lake was not still, you will see nothing. Lord says, "Kesamere," and he's still confused. Arunagirinathar is still confused. And he says, Naka kat, he says, show me your tongue. So Arunagirinathar shows him his tongue, and he takes his veil and he writes on it. The Lord smiles and writes on his tongue. He writes a mantram. That everything is history. Don't we know? We all know who Arunagirinathar is, the great poet who sang so many songs of Lord Muruga, in praises of Lord Muruga. Now he gives him a japa malai and he says, sing. After he writes, he says, sing. Arunagirinathar is like, I don't know what to sing. Okay, I'll give you the first line. Now you sing, he says. What's the first line? He says, Muttai Taru. What is that? He gave him pearls. The beginning itself, he gives him pearls. Muttai Taru. And how Arunagirinathar beautifully strings those pearls together. And we are still listening to them. I'll sing a few lines, you'll understand. A person who's not educated, who had no clue, who had no anything, he has not sung before, not written poems before, has sung this, the first song. That is something. முத்தை தருபத்தி திருநகையத்தி கிரை சத்தி சரவண முத்தி குருவித்து குருபரையன போதும் முத்தை தருபத்தி திருநகையத்தி கிரை சத்தி சரவண முத்தி குருவித்து குருபரையன போதும் முக்கட்பரமக்குச் சுருதியன் முப்பத்தது பத்தி திருவரும் முப்பத்து முவர்க்கத் தரவரும் அறிபேன முக்கட்பரமக்குச் சுருதியன் முப்பத்தது கற்பித்திருவரும் முப்பத்து முவர்க்கத் தமரமும் அடிபேன பத்து தலை தத்த கனைதொடு ஒற்றை கிரிமத்தை பொறுதொரு பட்ட பகல் வட்ட திகிரியில் இருவாக பத்தக்கிரதத்தை கடவிய பச்சை புயல் மெச்சத் தகுபொருள் பச்சத் தொதுவச்சித் தருள்வதும் ஒரு நாளே. tongue twisters. Tongue twisters. It's only with his blessings I could sing it. Only with his grace I could sing it. Literally tongue twisters. Yes, people have learned it. There are a lot of people who sing it. It's not that it's impossible, but yeah, you can sing it only with his grace. Literally tongue twisters. And almost all Arunagirinathar's poems and songs are like this. And this was during the period of the when the devotees, especially the Vaishnavas and Shaivites, were fighting and having all these mixed, you know, ideas that only Shiva is the Lord and only Vishnu is the Lord. And that time, Arunagirinathar emerged and gave us these beautiful songs. And all these songs, right? It was not only about Lord Murugan. If you saw the meaning of the song, I will tell you the meaning of this song. This is his first song. The first stanza says, "You are the consort of Devayani with beautiful smile. Muttai Taru is the beautiful teeth like pearls, shining like pearls. A beautiful smile with teeth like pearls," he says. "And you are Sharavana Bhava, holding the powerful veil, Shakti veil, and you are the foremost seed for the heaven." And he praises Lord Shiva with the three eyes, the sun, moon, and the fire. Three eyes. The second stanza, he says, "You preached the fundamental Pranava Mantra OM to Lord Shiva. It's dating earlier than the Vedas. And while the other two, Brahma and Vishnu, along with the 33 crores of Devas, watched and worshipped your feet." We just saw that story now. And he said that in the second stanza. The third stanza is the most interesting. He's talking about Lord Rama. He says, "He shot an arrow and scattered the 10 heads of Lord Ravana. Pattattalai tattakkanai todu." That is what he's talking about in that. And in the second line in the third stanza, he says, "He churned the milky ocean with the mountain Mantara." He supported that mountain in the Kurmavadaram. He's talking about the Kurmavadaram, Lord Vishnu. And then he's talking about Lord Krishna in the third line, saying, "He's the one who hit the sun with his chakram in the daytime, making it night." Correct? In that time where he did that in Mahabharata. Third line for Lord Krishna. So first line was Rama, second was Kurmavadaram, third was Krishna. So he's praising Lord Vishnu. And he says in the fourth paragraph, he says, "He drove the chariot for his friend and devotee Arjuna." Again, Krishna. "And he is Lord Vishnu," he says. "The emerald green, beautiful Lord Vishnu, you are his favorite." He's telling Lord Muruga, and you are his favorite. So he praises Lord Vishnu and he says, "You are his favorite. Will you give me time?" He says, "Will you be kind enough to give me some time and come and protect me?" He's praising Lord Vishnu and he says that Lord Vishnu loves Lord Murugan and Muruga is Lord Vishnu's favorite. And he says, will you be kind enough to give me a few minutes and some time for me? So in this way, he's not only praising Lord Vishnu, he praises all the gods. He praises Lord Brahma, he praises Lord Shiva, Vishnu, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Parvati. So his songs have everybody. All the deities are mentioned in his songs and praised. But in the end, he concludes by praising Lord Murugan. That was the beauty of Arunagirinathar. Unlike any other poet, he's a person who praised everyone. That was a change. That was a little different. We needed that change, a good change, where he uplifted all the gods. And everyone is beautiful in their own way, right? And Arunagirinathar's poetry, songs portray that. I hope you enjoyed this session. Jainandalala Mathioli.
Thank you.